Single father Daniel's quiet morning caring for his 6 sons suddenly changed when he helped an elderly woman on the bus. It turned out she was a fortune teller, and before leaving, she slipped a mysterious note into his hand. Daniel took it, unaware that the woman's parting words would soon change his life. It was one of those cloudy California mornings when it feels like the universe has hit the snooze button and forgotten to wake up. My 1-year-old son, Jamie, was sitting in his stroller, his hot breath fogging up the plastic cover. He had been running a fever all night, and every little moan he made tore me apart. I slipped a pacifier into his hand and checked the bag slung over my shoulder. Formula? Check. Spare clothes? Good. Exhausted father living on coffee and prayer? Also ready. Single fatherhood was not part of my life plan. My wife, Paulina, was everything to me, and when she died in childbirth, it was as if the world around me collapsed. But Jamie became my reason for living, and now every step I took was for him. We're almost there, buddy, I muttered, adjusting his blanket. You'll feel better soon, I promise. I gently touched his hot forehead, remembering the sleepless night. Your mother would know what to do, I whispered bitterly. The bus stopped with a sharp screech of brakes. I pulled the stroller up with one hand and grabbed the handrail with the other. Move faster, man. Everyone's got things to do here, the driver snapped. My son is sick, I replied sharply, trying to squeeze into the salon. Give me a second. As you say, just hurry up, he grumbled. I gritted my teeth, resisting the urge to respond more harshly, and sat Jamie down in the corner. There were only a few people on the bus, tired passengers with headphones or newspapers. At the next stop she got on. The woman, in her 70s, looked out of place on the bus. Layers of long skirts draped around her frail frame, a tightly tied scarf covered her head, and silver bracelets adorned her wrists. Her eyes, outlined in dark eyeliner, darted restlessly as she rummaged through an old leather bag. I don't have enough for a ticket, she said quietly with an accent unfamiliar to me. The driver frowned. Lady, this is not a charity. If you have money, get on, if not, get off the bus. She hesitated, clearly confused. Please. My name is Miss Moonshadow. I will tell your future for free. Just let me pass. Her hands shook as she held them out in supplication. I really need to get there. The driver rolled his eyes. I don't need your tricks. Either pay or leave. Her gaze slid across the bus and lingered on me for a moment. There was not only anxiety in her eyes, but something else, something elusive. Hey, if you don't have money, get out, the driver barked, making her flinch. I couldn't stand it and stood up. I'll pay, I said, taking out my wallet. The driver muttered something discontentedly under his breath as he accepted the money. The woman turned to me, and her gaze was heavy, filled with something I couldn't explain. Thank you, she said quietly. You shouldn't have done that. You have too much on your shoulders as it is, I can see it in your eyes. It's okay, I waved it off. Sometimes everyone needs help. Miss Moonshadow sat at the back of the bus, but I felt her eyes remain on me. As the bus pulled up to my stop, I was carefully pushing the stroller out, trying not to disturb Jamie's dozing form, when Miss Moonshadow reached out and squeezed my elbow with surprising force. Wait, she said, and thrust a folded piece of paper into my palm. What is this? I asked, confused. Her voice became almost inaudible. You'll need this. Trust me. Sometimes the truth hurts before it heals. The driver shouted at me to hurry up, and I nodded automatically, hiding the note in my pocket. I got to the doctor's. Jamie was asleep in the stroller, his hot little face looking tiny. Mr. Daniel, the nurse called. Yes, it's us, I answered. I sat down in the chair, waiting for the doctor to be free. Almost automatically, I put my hand in my pocket and felt the note. I unfolded it. 3 words hit me like a bolt of lightning. He is not your son. I froze. I read it again. And one more thing. The pulse began to hum in my ears, and the note burned my hand like fire. Mr. Daniel, the nurse repeated. The doctor is waiting for you. Jamie stirred slightly, and I instinctively stroked his cheek. He looks so much like you, the nurse smiled, leading us into the office. I forced a smile, but inside everything collapsed. These words. They couldn't be true. But the thought, like poisonous smoke, filled my mind. I struggled with myself for a week. Then I gave in. I ordered a DNA test. When the results came in, I held the envelope, unable to open it. Finally, I tore it open and skimmed the first few lines. There was one word written there, not compliant. Jamie was not my son. I sank to the floor, clutching the crumpled piece of paper. No, I whispered. No, no, no. And Jamie, unsuspecting, smiled at me. Dad. His little hands reached out to me, but I felt like I was losing myself. She wasn't sure who the child was from. I swallowed hard. There was a pain in my chest, not sharp, but lingering, as if something inside me was slowly breaking apart. Why didn't you tell me? The voice was shaking, but there was still some firmness in it. Why the hell did I have to find out like this? Joyce ran her hand over her face, brushing away tears. Paulina was afraid she would lose you, she whispered. She loved you, Dan. She loved you very much. And when the tests during her pregnancy showed that the baby was healthy, she decided never to bring it up. She didn't want to ruin what you had. But she died, I smiled bitterly. And now I'm left alone, looking after a child who, I couldn't finish. Jamie is yours, she said urgently, her voice breaking. He's always been yours. Wasn't it you who rocked him to sleep at night when he was sick? Wasn't it you who taught him his first words? Wasn't it you who were there every second of his life? I stared at the floor, clutching that damn piece of paper that had destroyed everything I thought was true. Jamie was not my son. But what difference did that make? I stood up abruptly. I need time, I exhaled. Joyce nodded, not trying to stop me. The air outside was fresh and I suddenly felt like walking. I wandered aimlessly until my feet led me to the children's park where I had so often walked with Jamie. I sat down on the bench and covered my face with my hands. What should I do now? Can I just turn around and walk away? Stop being his father? The morning, yes, and his warm little hands reaching out to me appeared before my eyes. I realized that I was his only world. And perhaps he was the only one I had left. The phone in my pocket vibrated. A message from Joyce. Just remember, blood means nothing. Love makes us family. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. I had no doubts. I have already made my choice. Write in the comments what you think about the heroes of our story and subscribe to our channel.